I went to Chick-fil-A.
Same.
All right. Is this episode 8? We're going to hit episode 100 before we know it.
We'll know it.
We'll know. It'll be a big celebration. This is just going to be kind of a general. We have some questions from your friends that I figured we'd dive into. Some more like general fitness, progress tracking, that type of stuff. But actually, I've been meaning to ask you this because I think people would be interested to know. I'm interested to know, and we can go over what I do too. But what's your daily supplement regimen from the time you wake up through your workouts, all that stuff?
So if it's a day I'm working out, I guess, from the time I get up, I guess some of it kind of depends on what you constitute a supplement. Like I had bone broth first thing in the morning.
Titan supplements. Let's go there.
Titan supplement. So, get up in the morning. I guess my first supplements I take with breakfast would be Men's Essentials, 2 of the omega-3s. I guess that's it with breakfast. I do that again in the evening with dinner. Then I'll do, if it's a workout day, I'm working out here at the gym, so, we have access to all the supplements. So like during the day or during the workout, I might do pre-workout. If I'm working out later, I'll do either pump or swole shot just for a little extra blood flow. If I'm on the weekend, if it's a workout, I'll take something with stimulant in it. I tried the Stim Rush last weekend. It was awesome.
It's great.
Honestly, totally biased opinion, but no bullshit. I felt better than I thought I would. That product was not something I made like with myself in mind. I thought it was going to be a little too stimmy, a little hesitant of the amount of synephrine in it, but I felt really good. And synephrine really doesn't hit your CNS, like it doesn't raise your heart rate and stuff like other stimulants. So that was, it's kind of fun like to take it and then like, oh, I see why that's popular.
Right.
So the vitamin, the fish oil, I'll do like, let's say pump, pre-workout. And then my inter-workouts where I do a lot of supplements, I'll do, if it's like a heavy back or legs or something, I'll do a scuba glyco feed. So that's some intra-workout carbs. I'll do about 10 grams of creatine, 3 grams of HMB, and a scoop of EAAs. I'll sip on that while I work out. When I get done, before I head home, I'll do a scoop of isolate, 25 grams of isolate, and then go home and eat dinner. So, and like I said, with dinner, I'll have my second round of vitamins and fish oil.
Gotcha.
That's it.
I'm curious. You said you use 3 grams of HMB and all that stuff intra-workout. Is there is just a preference thing, or is there an advantage to that? Because I do it a little bit differently. So I'm curious why you do it all intra-workout, or if it matters really.
So I think if I was instructing someone like the best way to take it, right? Like creatine, for example, I'd say, well, take 5 grams of creatine before you work out and 5 grams of creatine after you work out, or just take 10 grams total in a day.
Right.
HMB, same thing, 1.5 grams before, 1.5 grams after. But also I'm getting it just kind of all peri-workout in there. I start sipping on it before I come downstairs. I've, big 64 ounce thing of water. So I think as long as I get it in, mainly I'm hitting my protein and my carbs through my whole food, so it doesn't take a ton of extra supplementation. Those are just some of the, like, I think low hanging fruit. Like really, if you really want to just have better workouts in general, adding some creatine, some carbs, some EAAs is a really simple way to boost your performance.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I've figured, like, especially with the creatine HMB, if you get it in your system, that's really that's the biggest
I think the same with beta alanine. Like there's 3.5 grams in pump, so I take it then. But if, let's say I didn't take pump, I usually just put it in my intra workout. I just kind of throw everything in there and go.
Yeah. Because beta alanine is the same effect with like creatine. It's you build up your stores.
Yes, there's a saturation effect. I think there's something to be said for taking it pre-workout, but the second best time is when I'm working out.
Clear up any confusion for everybody out there about beta alanine? It is not a stimulant. The tingling.
So we had that in our text conversation with Frank. Is that you guys were talking about people thinking it's similar. I've never really encountered that people thinking
it's as of late.
It's a stimulant.
I remember back in the day, like going to the gyms we would supplement at, and people would be, oh man, my skin's tingling. I want to rip my face off. Like, what kind of how much caffeine's in here? And like, it's not the caffeine. It's the beta alanine.
Yeah,
you'll be fine. And trust me, you take a product with beta alanine in it for 3-4 days in a row. By that 5th day, you're not even gonna know you took it. That being said, if I take pump or any pre-workout with beta alanine in it, before I get to the gym, like on a drive, like a 20-minute drive, I will feel it.
Sure.
But if you take it 10 minutes before you start warming up, you're probably not even going to notice.
Yeah, here's for people who say I don't like beta alanine. I guess if you want to take beta alanine, and here in full disclosure, you need to be training at capacity to actually get a benefit from beta alanine. Like you need to be pushing, like you are taxing the limits of your muscular endurance for you to get a benefit of beta alanine. So these fucking guys, girls, whatever, that go in, they're taking their beta alanine, they get the tingling and they're like, this shit's working, and they're doing a set, not even close to failure. They get a little pump and then they sit for 3 minutes on their phone and they do another set. You're getting nothing. You're not pushing yourself enough to have any benefit of beta alanine.
Right.
Period. So the beta alanine one is for people who train really hard.
Yeah.
Like you need to be training hard to get a benefit of it. The two things, if you are doing that, and you choose to take beta alanine, which is a great, very effective supplement. If it's something you want to take, but you don't like kind of the flush, the redness and the tingling from it, two things you can do. Number one, have something on your stomach. You might not want to eat, you don't want to eat a huge, steak and cheese sandwich maybe before you work out, but have a little bit of light food on your stomach. And then two, like you mentioned, start working out. Take it closer to a workout, and because once your blood starts circulating, that tingling goes away. That's why if you take a pre-workout, you're all red and flushed. Once you start working out, that flush goes away because your blood's starting to flow to extremities and it dissipates. So those two things, start getting some circulation to get going, and have something on your stomach.
Yeah. So it's not a stimulant and it's not going to keep you awake. So
yeah,
we're going to clear that.
I don't know if I'd say like, hey, take it before you go to bed.
Right.
It wouldn't be comfortable to lay there on empty stomach in bed and take it, but no adverse effects as far as like, you're talking stimulate, like central nervous system, elevate your heart rate, none of that's going to happen.
Yeah. No, you'll be fine. The stuff I use,
unless you're freaking out because your face is on fire.
Yeah. Well, I've seen it before. People are like, what's happening to me? And it's like, nothing, you're fine. Calm down.
Yeah.
You'll get over this adversity you're facing right now. My pre-workout, I work out first thing in the morning. Well, when I get here, it's GlycoFeed, depending on what I'm doing that day.
Do you have breakfast? No, you have breakfast after.
No, I do it after.
Are you completely empty stomach?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can eat, or I can work out after I eat. I don't prefer it. I also just prefer to work out in the morning. My energy levels are better. By the end of a work day, I'm not mentally in the space where I want to work out. I will if I have to get it in, but I don't like it. My mood's better if I work out earlier in the day. GlycoFeed, because I don't eat anything, depending on or what I'm doing that day, the pre-workout is either pump, stim rush if bad night of sleep, or I just want an extra boost, stim rush, or Creax. So I kind of rotate between all three. Mm-hmm. I have been doing not a completely full scoop of stim rush with my pump, just because I've really liked how I felt with stim rush, and it tastes really good. So it's an enjoyable drink on the right end. Then breakfast, I do the essentials, I do Omega, and then I follow that up. Oh, and I'm putting creatine, HMB in with my pre-workout. Mm-hmm. And then post-workout, I'm doing either Rebuild or GlycoFeed EAAs with more creatine and HMB. Mm-hmm. And then at night, essentials and Omega. Yeah. Kind of the same route.
Do you like working on an empty stomach?
I do, yeah. But that's why I also take the GlycoFeed. I notice the GlycoFeed.
Yeah. You'll bonk. You'll blow up your sugars. Something completely unsolicited advice. Something I would, if you wanted more, like you want to maximize growth during workout and stuff, because EAAs are nice, but if you want to have something in your stomach, because you got to drive, you have a bit of a commute before you come in. Like you try eating like a banana and a scoop of isolate before you leave the house. So you'll have, but bananas, it's fruit, but it's half fructose, about half glucose. So you'll have some circulatory blood sugars and isolate. You could almost take isolate's fast enough. You could also almost take it as an intra workout, not quite that fast, but in the 30 minutes it takes you to get here, whatever, you'll have a good, like bloodstream, of circulating amino acids. So it would bump up your nitrogen retention, which is nitrogen retention and glucose circulation is important for workouts.
When we're out of GlycoFeed, I'll turn to a banana, something like that. Yeah. And I've done it before where I've taken isolate GlycoFeed as part of my pre-workout. I've done all of that. Yeah. I definitely get the point of like I think
really, really like it's that peri-workout before, during, after, like those, it's like you want to bookend your workouts with amino acids and carbs. And then if you're especially if you're training for an hour plus, a lot of times it's not that you don't have the endurance. I think we've talked about on here before. You don't have the endurance, or your cardiovascular system is tanking. A lot of times the energy crash is a low blood sugar.
Yeah.
So if you're getting some carbs in before, during, sipping on some carbs as the glyco feed. If I won't do that if it's if I'm training shoulders or something where I really don't. It's a short
Right.
workout and I'm just not taxing a big muscle group. My strategy to staying lean and stuff is really manipulating carbohydrates, calories overall, but carbohydrates first. So that's something I don't always do an intra-workout carb.
Yeah, I've noticed from just eating more carbs lately, I think I actually like it better. So
Yeah.
I'd be more likely to scale down my fats.
Yeah.
I just feel fuller.
I was
All
actually
that.
doing my macros the other day for the website, and I was putting together. I have this. It'll be the first blog I put on there, but I have this nighttime snack I've been loving, guys, and it's funny. Like I'm putting the macros because I don't count macros. I really go. I mean,
Right.
I completely go off just intuitive eating and what I look like in the mirror, whether I want to cut back calories or not. And so I'm like, I bet if I'm going to write about this, I need to give at least, and I said I was transparent. I said, I don't count macros. I'm not weighing shit out as I'm putting in the bowl. But if you want them, here's approximately what I would put in the bowl, and here's what it was. It had way more carbs and fat than I thought, which is always the
Well,
case.
I think I asked you about that a couple episodes ago, and I was like, wow, you eat really low fat. I prefer fattier foods, but I was like, Jesus, that's really low.
So Kylie had mentioned that. My wife, who's a nutrition expert, she's I think you get more fat. I don't on what I plan.
Right.
But what I end up snacking like on almonds. And then we have these I forget what they're called, but they're these almond flour cookies, and they're fucking delicious. But I don't know what fat is in them. She's like, I feel guilty when I eat 3 of those. I'm like, I eat a bag.
If it's supposed to be healthy and it's an almond flour cookie, I'm like, all these are healthy. I'm eating all of them.
Yeah, I eat a bag of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what you just mentioned actually is going to lead me into one of our topics or questions that we got was what's one way to track progress without actually having to, weigh your food, all that stuff. And you mentioned it, you look in the mirror, scale, looking in the mirror. Those are 2 things you can take pictures from. I wouldn't recommend doing pictures every day because unless you want to do one of those cool little Instagram reel videos, track your progress after a year. But if you're just doing it for yourself, then, take once a month. You could do once a week.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. Is there any advice, something I'm not thinking of?
No, it's fun because like, it's like you need to track something.
Right.
If you really want like sustainable results, like I say I don't track it. I'm not really trying to I'm trying to maintain, stay in shape, etc. Now, if I said I weighed the other day, I was actually I was like 230. Okay. It's a little heavier than I've been lately. Not as heavy as I've been in the past, but a little heavier lately. I like the way I look though, so I'm not unhappy with the weight. Summer's coming up. If I said like, I want to lean up, and lean up might not mean a certain weight, but I used to feel really good and super lean. Like I could see veins in my abs if I was like 218, like just a hair under 220. So if I was going to do that, I would start weighing everything because I feel like that's the best way to really dial it in. Like, to get a desired outcome, you have to know what the inputs are. For someone who doesn't want to do that, I think and wants to see some results, if you don't want to count all the calories, count at least protein.
Yeah.
At the bare minimum, make sure, because it's going to be hard to maintain muscle mass if you're way off on your protein. We've talked about it here before, but get a gram of protein per pound of body weight.
Yeah.
So at least count that. And also, especially because I think some people they mismanage, they under or overestimate the amount of calories they eat. I think a lot of times with people thinking they're losing weight, they way underestimate the amount of calories they're eating. A group I always notice, like they think they eat a ton, is like teenagers.
Yeah.
Oh, I eat so much.
Yeah.
Like, no, you eat some shit every once in a while. Like you binge every once in a while, and then you have these, but you really don't. Like, oh, my kid eats so much and he doesn't gain weight. You say, well let me see what he's eating.
What's he doing throughout the rest of the day?
Yeah, and he's eating 2,200 calories, and he's 16 and 180 pounds, or 140 pounds, whatever. If you're 16, like you're burning so many calories, like you gotta bump those numbers up, son. You gotta double that,
big time.
if you're really wanting to gain weight. So there has to be something trackable. I would start with protein, as far as like whether it be weight, pictures, something. Pick one.
Yeah.
And stick with it. The mirror is a great truth teller, though.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say, it depends on what your goal is. If you want to make some kind of a drastic change, if you wanted to gain a bunch of weight, okay, you probably don't have to measure your food, all that stuff. If you can eat enough, if you tell yourself you're going to eat more than you normally do, or if you need to lose a lot of weight, those are things you can just look in the mirror for.
And you can measure and not track, meaning like you could weigh your food just if you want to maintain. And you think, well, gosh, I've not gained or lost weight in 3 months. Weigh your food. It's not making it harder. It's making it simple, and just make sure you're eating the same amount. Or if you want to lose weight, start like, well, I have a cup of rice with my meals. Have 3/4 of a cup. Wait a month, see what happens.
Yep.
Assuming you're eating the same amounts of carbs, proteins,
Right.
Every day. But I usually think, although people say it's like I don't have time, right? It's harder to weigh stuff. It's harder to measure. It actually makes things easier because it's so just cookie cutter.
It's cut and dry. Well,
Yeah.
and eventually the more practice you get into it, you just know, and
Yeah.
you don't even think about it. And at some point, if you're trying to track progress, you're going to have to do
It takes away,
something like
right? And
that.
so it takes away your excuses. Like, I've tried everything to lose weight.
Yeah.
Everything except counting my calories and macros and eating less than I burning more calories than I take in after
Right.
everything I've tried.
Right. Yeah. And I think people they see it as a daunting task, whether it's the conversion of like, well, how many grams of protein is this? How many grams of carbs is that? Weighing out your food and doing that. I think that stops a lot of people. I mean, it is monotonous, but like I said, you get it done. Once you get in the routine of it, it's pretty simple. And then after a while, like, cause we've both been doing it for a long time, like you can kind of intuitively eat. You can still weigh stuff or know kind of the area that you need to be in when you're doing that type of stuff. So, the next question is, which I think rolls right into this, cheat meals. Advice on cheat meals. How often should you do them? You know, I've seen different things. 1 cheat meal a week. Do the 80-20 method. 80% clean, 20%. Whatever you want to eat.
You don't ever need a cheat meal.
You've heard it here.
I mean, you don't. Like, what are you eating that you need a cheat meal?
It's a mental thing because I get it. I've been there.
I cheat fucking weekly. I
Right.
had some pizza this weekend. I'm sure I'll eat something this weekend. But I need a cheat meal. You really don't. And if you're like, if you see the meals I read, like they're tasty, they're good. Like
Yeah.
I really don't need a cheat meal.
Right.
And the whole like you could get real. You could way overanalyze it and say like you need it because it increases leptin and this is going to help. Like for most people, you don't need it. You don't have to have it. If you have to have like I fucking have to have McDonald's or something, then there's probably something going on with your diet where you're lacking some fats, some sugars, some carbs, some salts or something where your body's just absolutely craving that, and that needs to be addressed. So you don't have this urge to go through a drive-through. And maybe you're just weak.
Yeah.
Maybe you're just mentally weak and need to skip the drive-through.
Yeah.
However, if your diet or your plan allows for you to have a cheat meal and still be on track to hit your goals, then I don't think there's anything wrong with a cheat meal. I just think there's something wrong with saying like, I have to have a cheat meal.
It's that mentality.
If you absolutely have to have one, like you are, it's an addiction. You can't, you can't see yourself going out without a box of fries. Then there's probably something lacking, like I said, some fats or something in your diet that's causing that severe craving.
Yeah.
If it's just a mental thing, like I really, really want Brahms, like Brahms would be a good cheat meal.
Yeah.
I really want
Yeah.
this. Then if you're counting calories, like, a lot for some extra on the week. I'll do that plenty of times, like on days where I've eaten really crappy the day before. I had a big pizza or something. Instead of doing a cup of dry oats, the next morning, I'll do 3/4 a cup, and I'll do that for a couple of days just to balance it out. But there's not an absolute need for a cheat meal. If you want one, don't turn a cheat meal into a cheat day. I always say start with a good. Don't cheat for breakfast. Get up, have a good protein source that usually sets you on your way. Go for a 10-minute walk when you get done eating that cheat meal. One, you'll feel a lot better, and you'll better metabolize those fats, sugars, whatever it is you ate.
I think that comes from, you just take a person that's wanting to be healthier and they've come from the side of eating where they don't eat healthy. They eat a lot of fast food, or they prepare just not good food at home, whatever it is. I understand that concept of wanting a cheat meal, but I think too often we get tied to it because you're going to go from eating bad to eating clean. And that is tough. That is tough for a person. There's that mental thing, like, don't be mentally weak, but they've been doing this for so long. So that's a hard cycle to break. That's a hard mentality to get over. So there's different approaches to, the cheat meal. The cheat day, I 100% agree. Don't cheat all day.
Yeah.
I cheat all day from time to
17-year-old
time.
trying to gain weight, or you just don't give a fuck. Take a day.
You can definitely wreck your week's progress in a day. 2 days.
A week. Yeah. You can.
But you can either eat clean all week, and then on Saturday night we're gonna have a cheat meal. You can go that route. One day a week you decide to do a cheat meal, or I've done cheat windows before. I've told people you can do a cheat window 1 to 3 hours. I don't think you can absolutely destroy your week of progress.
You could try.
I probably could. There are people that definitely can. You can try.
I could put down. I think too, having some value. If you're going to cheat, I always look at was it worth it? Kind of, like literally, was it worth it? And I was trying to explain this to my son who's 8, which he's listening, but like he wanted to go to the concession stand over and over and over. And I was like, okay, because it's hot dogs, it's hamburgers, it's, I'm like, don't get candy.
Yeah.
If you're gonna cheat, make it like have some value in there. Like get a burger, get something that's even, for him, he's 8, like, get a pretzel, get a big doughy, some carbs, and you don't go get. I think, and this is maybe a personal choice, I think the worst thing to cheat on is like sour candies and just absolute empty, cheat on a big homemade grilled burger with some sweet potato fries and something that fills you up. You get a ton of protein. Sure, there's going to be some extra fats and sugars in there, carbs in there, whatever. But there's some real value in the satisfaction you get from it too.
Yeah, definitely.
So consider that before you go through
a cheat meal worth it.
Yeah, I don't want a fucking Big Mac for a cheat meal. That's a punishment.
Yeah. And back to that, it's like you can do the one cheat meal a day, or not a day, 1 day a week. I like the 80-20 method where 80% of the time you're going to eat clean. And then, sometimes 3 times a week, maybe you have whatever meal that's not the cleanest. It doesn't have to be a full-on cheat meal, but like you said, maybe you have like some fries or something with it.
Yeah.
That throughout the week, I found just for myself can kind of limit those cravings or whatever, instead of waiting a whole week. Because for some people, if you wait a whole week, you're trying to get to that Saturday, Thursday, if you've been eating clean and you're not making a variety of those different foods, like if you're just eating chicken and rice every day, probably by Wednesday or Thursday, you're like, I need something else. And that's where the mental toughness or that weakness comes in, that get out of here, where you're more likely to break. It's a lot, to me, it's a lot harder to hold on to that mental toughness of don't cheat when you've just been eating something bland and plain all week.
Yeah.
So don't get tied into, don't make the cheat meal thing a huge thing in your head.
Yeah.
Don't be a head case about it.
Yeah.
But also don't beat yourself up about it if you do fail, because you just got to get back on track the next day.
Gonna live another day.
Yep. Last question.
You fat, out of shape, undisciplined. No, sorry. That was self-talk.
Yeah, I'm talking to myself.
That's as I'm crying as I'm finishing the last slice of pizza.
Yeah. I hate myself, but it's so good. Best lifts to look good naked.
Squats.
I was going to say, you got to start with squats.
Squats. You can't build a good looking house without a good foundation.
It's true. Is it lifts, or is it the type of periodization you're using? Obviously, diet, all that stuff goes into effect. But if we're just talking about lifts,
if you're just talking about, to look good naked, then what's gonna not just tax and stimulate your muscles, but also encourage a stimulus that's going to release hormones and increase protein synthesis. So big compound movements are going to be your goats. Like, why do CrossFitters look good? They don't look good, and they don't have round muscle bellies and stuff because they sit on machine and do preacher curls and rope tricep extensions. That stuff works too. But if you want, if you're talking bang for your buck, then big compound movements are going to be the best. Yep. Squats, clean and jerk, if you can do it, or just what goes from the ground over your head, and pull ups and barbell bench press or incline press, like things.
Yeah, I was gonna say anything that targets like big primary mover muscles.
Yeah, multiple articulations. Multiple muscle groups at the same time is going to be the best bang for your buck in terms of overall aesthetics.
Yeah, and I'd say like the stuff like the bicep, triceps, those are like tune-ups. you know,
Right.
the more fine skilled things.
I think like I don't have an arm day, and there's nothing wrong with it. I think if you wanted to bring up your arms, maybe have a separate arm day. But I hit triceps. I'll do 6 sets or so at the end of chest. I train them hard, but it's not my primary focus.
Yeah.
And same with biceps. I don't have an arm day where I just train biceps. I'll hit 6 sets or so at the end of a back workout, because I've already used those muscles as a secondary mover. So they're already warm. They're already taxed a little bit. So I don't need to go, where I might train, 15 to 18 sets of back. I don't need to do another 15 or 18 sets. My biceps been pulling that whole workout. So I just isolate them for a few sets at the end, get a good pump, and I'm out of there. I think in terms of aesthetics, most of that work's been done with the primary muscle groups when you're training. Because when you're training back, you're using not only your whole posterior chain, but your biceps and your forearms, and you're gripping the bar and everything too. So nothing, kind of the old is new, nothing changes, just use big movements.
Yeah, that concept of look good naked, or best, what's the best to look good naked? I mean, you're building muscle.
Yeah, the best is to put the fork down, make sure you get your protein, put the fork down, and do some cardio.
Yeah, all that combination.
I say that, I take that back. Not cardio is a small piece of it, but in terms of like fat burning stuff, the resistance training.
Well, it's a combination of all that, right? You want to build muscle, and then you want to reduce the fat that's over that muscle, and then that you're essentially going to look good.
But essentially, building muscle is your fat burning engine. Right. So the priority number one is resistance training.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Where are we at, Luke?
I think people think of I weight lift to build muscle, and I do cardio to burn fat. When really it's not the cardio is good for getting in a fat burning zone, and but it's just a way to burn excess calories. But the way you're going to burn calories, whether you're doing cardio or you're sitting on your ass, is by having larger muscles. Yeah. And that's all. It all goes back to resistance training. How can you build muscle? I
mean, back in the day, people thought that muscle just did what your brain told it to do, but it's really an endocrine organ. And it has a lot of different effects on your body.
Yeah.
So from hormones, all that stuff. So yeah, build muscle, and if you're doing a lot of volume in the weight room, you're going to burn fat.
Right.
So keep it simple.
Yep.
So, we're good. We're getting out of here.